Saturday. I decided to invite Rowley to my house over the weekend since I haven't spent much time with him during the past weeks. The truth is, we were all busy with graduating middle school, and during that time, me and Holly got a little closer, and we forgot about Rowley. While we were spending time together, Rowley started hanging out with Colin. Even though Colin started wearing a beanie in the colors of the Jamaican flag and smoking that grass stuff, so I was a little worried about Rowley. I guess I shouldn't have worried, since Rowley hadn't changed at all since I last saw him. And anyhow, his parents banned him from seeing Colin for obvious reasons, so all was good. I guess we're technically equal now, since he dumped me when he started dating Abigail. The only difference between those two situations was that this one didn't even require me and Holly to break up. In fact, Holly understood me when I said I wanted to spend time with Rowley. And anyhow, our relationship wasn't intended to make some ex-lover jealous or anything. I told Rowley to bring some entertaining stuff for us to do, but he ended up bringing a book. Joshie Ultimate Fan Book. Includes puzzles, stickers, activities, and more. As soon as I saw that, I claimed that I had something better, and I went to look for those wacky sentences Mom bought me last winter. But when I did find them, I discovered that Manny drew scissors all over them with a purple magic marker, and they were unreadable as a result. So we were stuck with Rowley's stupid Joshie book. If I was a 6-year-old girl, I would have thought that the book was the greatest thing ever. However, while I have been 6 years old and a girl on separate occasions, I've never been both at the same time, and I struggle to understand what Rowley saw in that book. I basically pretended to look interested as Rowley read me the answers. He'd put for the "How well do you know your friend" quiz. What's your friend's favorite Joshie song? I put "Children of the World." Am I right? Rowley, I don't like any of Joshie's songs. Rowley just ignored all my comments and continued to read out his inaccurate portrayal of me. After about 5 minutes, I was starting to go a little nuts. That's when I noticed a piece of paper lying on the ground. I'm pretty sure it fell out of Rowley's book because it was a redeemable code for a Joshie song. Hey kids, you're among the first to listen to a sample song from my upcoming album, Wisdom of Parents. Go to www.joshie.com and enter the following code now. Don't forget to ask your parents' permission before going online. I wasn't too interested in the redeemable code until I noticed that it featured the number of the beast. I'm not an expert on Joshie, but I'm pretty sure that given his target audience, he wouldn't show them such a thing. Anyways, I showed the paper to Rowley, but I think he was more interested in finding out what Joshie's new song was like. We went onto the Joshie website, entered the code, and waited for them to email me a file for the song. And to be honest, I was expecting some lame pop. We ended up listening to some death metal song. I'm pretty sure the lyrics were in some foreign language since neither of us could understand anything in the song. What we did know was that this definitely wasn't a Joshie song, but some sort of elaborate prank. Rowley was so spooked by the death metal song that he wanted to watch this really old kids show called Winx of Marvelo Corner, which he'd brought. But I decided that one of Mom's romantic comedies would be a little more age appropriate. I can't look! Relax, they're just kissing. Kinda weird how this guy wants to watch a romantic comedy when there's just two dudes in a basement, but hey, whatever. I guess Rowley's a little upset that he and Abigail never shared a single kiss, but then again, me and Holly haven't either. Though I do hope to change this by the end of our junior year. Hopefully Rowley will have moved on from moping about Abigail by then. Sunday. I'm pretty sure that Roderick's behind the Joshie code, since we ended up getting a death metal song, but we showed him the slip and asked if he was behind it. Joshie? Who the hell is this Joshie punk? You really think I know anything about a children's singer? We told Roderick about the death metal and even got him to listen to it, but he couldn't recognize it and claimed that it was probably a recording of someone talking in their sleep or something. I guess Roderick did have a point, but whatever language that song was in, it certainly wasn't English. We needed a linguist to help us, but there aren't that many of them in Plainview, and even less of them would be willing to help two kids understand the meaning behind a song. And somehow, we ended up seeing Fregley. Want to see if I can fit my foot in your mouths? Oh. After convincing Fregley that we didn't want to taste his dirty foot, we got him to listen to the death metal song. Unfortunately, his interpretation of the song was so weird that I don't even know what he meant. This is the cry of a saber-toothed tree badger. If you listen to the whole thing, you'll die in 24 hours. Fregley claimed that he got spared since he only listened to the first minute, but I think he just read something off the internet and thought it was true. I decided to take what Fregley said with a grain of salt. Rowley, on the other hand, didn't. I guess Rowley thought that today was the last day of his life because as soon as we left Wrigley's, he ran home. With Rowley gone, I decided to see if Holly could help me. Since Rowley left all of his stuff at my house, I was able to show Holly where the slip came from. After listening to the recording, Holly came up with a question. Are you sure this isn't a factory defect or something? That was enough for us to buy another Joshie fan book to see if it also featured the mystery recording. The guy in the store gave us a funny look, but then again, he didn't know why we were buying a Joshie book. After we got the book, we scratched off the code and entered it into Joshie's website, and unfortunately, we ended up wasting $20 to get the exact same weird music. Luckily, I noticed that Holly's computer had some audio editing software, and I uploaded the music into it. We ended up slowing it down and speeding it up to see if it would make any difference, but it didn't work. Then I tried playing it backwards, and it all started to make sense. Pretty sure this says, fuck your parents, fuck the law, feel free to shut your gapping maw. From what I could understand, the song was about a guy who disobeys his parents and the police so that he can be cool and interesting. Quite the opposite of what Joshie tries to promote. However, the weirdest part of all of this was probably the fact that we couldn't find out what the song was called or who wrote it. Me and Holly don't know anything about this kind of music, and we couldn't find anything about that song, even though we looked up every single lyric in it. And then I decided that I should show it to Roderick since he's an expert on heavy metal. So I waved goodbye to Holly and I went home. On the way, I saw Rowley and his dad confronting Wrigley. So, you think corrupting my son's mind is funny, young man? Nah, man, I was just goofing. When I got home, I made Roderick listen to the reversed version of the song, and what he ended up telling me was shocking. Whoa, this sounds an awful lot like Bloody Rose. I had no idea what Roderick was talking about, so I looked up Bloody Rose. Turns out that it's a Dutch heavy metal band consisting of 3 guys whose names I can't pronounce. From what I read, the band was active until about 10 years ago, when one of the band members died in a car crash after having done inappropriate things to several women. I don't know what Bloody Rose has to do with Joshie, but I did find out that Joshie released his first single a month after Bloody Rose's lead singer died. Sure, this could just be a coincidence, but I find it really strange that Joshie hid a death metal song in a kid's book. After I discovered that, I searched Bloody Rose Joshie, but I only found articles about things that happened in the music industry during that particular year. By that point, I was on the verge of giving up, until I found one of those websites devoted to hoaxes. Theory. Joop Vanderkoorp of Bloody Rose faked his death. He lives on as Joshie. The website was pretty sketchy looking, and it seemed like the kind of place where Wrigley and Albert Sandy would get all their outlandish claims from. I'm pretty sure all of this was a bunch of lies, but I couldn't help but notice a few similarities between the Bloody Rose guy and Joshie. After I was done with that site, I searched for Joshie-related articles on various news websites and discovered that an alarming amount of them were related to Joshie featuring inappropriate content in his songs. I personally don't think that First Punch and Foot Kick are that inappropriate for kids, but I noticed that those lyrics appeared in all of his songs. Speaking of inappropriate lyrics, Bloody Rose has got to be the most foul-mouthed band that had ever lived. I mean, there's at least 10 swears in each of their songs. Stop fucking around cause I'm chasing my dream. No, I'd love to hear you fucking scream. I guess it's hardly surprising that Roderick knows a lot more swear words than I do. I mean, if all heavy metal bands are like this, I bet they've used every swear word that had ever existed at least once. I watched several Bloody Rose videos, all of them with the volume as low as possible so that mom wouldn't hear me. But even then, I noticed that the lead singer sounded an awful lot like Joshie. I know I'm very far from being an expert on Joshie, but I swear that that was his voice. I sent Holly links to the hoax article, as well as several Bloody Rose videos. I almost thought of doing the same with Rowley, until I remembered that he doesn't have an email address because his parents are afraid that he'll get spammed. So instead, I invited him over and told him about Bloody Rose and got him to listen to their songs. Fucking ride in the streets cause we'll never miss a beat. Rowley's parents don't even let him listen to real music. Only that god-awful kids pop where all the references to anything, even remotely related to adult content, gets replaced by something that doesn't even make sense. I can only blame myself for that, mainly because of that time in the 6th grade when we listened to one of Roderick's CDs at school. I thought Rowley was going to be intrigued by all this, but he was actually really mad about it. Rowley claimed that I made all of this up just to get him in trouble, even though I tried to tell him that I was just trying to find out the mystery of that song. I guess he doesn't want to give up his Joshie merchandise just yet, but he'll probably regret not believing me once Joshie's career gets blown. I bet that Rowley's already got tickets to the Joshie concert, and of course he didn't invite me. Though I can only blame myself for that, since I've told him millions of times that I don't like Joshie. Monday. Apparently Holly was even more intrigued than I was by Joshie's connection to Bloody Rose. She ended up looking through his social media pictures and discovered one where he grew a mustache. Do I look sexy with a mustache? Well, Joshie with a mustache looks exactly like the lead singer of Bloody Rose. Plus, he used the word sexy in that post, and I'm pretty sure that most parents don't want their children learning that word. I mean, mom still doesn't let me say it in front of her. Why would you be saying that in front of your own mom, Greg? What is going on? Anyways, I still had no idea how to prove that Joshie and the Bloody Rose guy were the same person. And then I had an idea. I looked up Joshie concert, and apparently, he's having a meet and greet before the concert, so I can probably bring a Bloody Rose CD and see if he'll sign it. I was about to go downstairs to see if Roderick had any Bloody Rose CDs, when I noticed that mom had left a note on the fridge. Tuesday, meet up with Linda in the association. We must protest against Joshie. I was a little surprised that mom was protesting against Joshie, since none of her sons listened to it. But then I noticed that she was teaming up with Rowley's mom to do so. I guess they're both members of the Soccer Moms of America Association, which is basically a bunch of moms who try to ban anything they consider inappropriate. They're the main reason why Joshie's been criticized for his songs being too violent. How Rowley's been able to keep his Joshie merchandise while his mom's been trying to ruin Joshie's career, I don't know. When I got to Roderick's room, I looked through his CDs to see if I could find one of Bloody Rose. This proved a lot harder than I thought because Roderick's room is a total mess. Good thing he was out practicing with his band, because it took me half an hour to find his CD stash and another 10 minutes to find a Bloody Rose CD in there. I wasn't quite sure what to do after that since Joshie's concert was still a day away, so I went over to Holly's to see if she found out anything else about Joshie. As it turns out, Holly said she couldn't find the original source for the article about Bloody Rose's lead singer dying in a car crash. Apparently, the only place where that was stated was on a free-to-edit site. I told Holly about my plan to show Joshie the CD from his previous life. To be honest, she wasn't quite as enthusiastic as I was. I mean, how else are we gonna confirm this? Okay, but couldn't you do it in a more private venue? Well, I'm gonna need a backstage pass for that, and those aren't cheap. Plus, my mom will be there. Alright then, I guess I'm okay with that. Wait, what's your mom doing? I'm pretty sure Mrs. Hills isn't a member of the Soccer Moms of America Association, because once I told Holly what my mom and Mrs. Jefferson were up to, she told me that they were overly controlling. I can only agree with her since my mom won't let me watch any movies rated PG-13 or above, even though I turned 13 a few years ago. At least Holly's still on board with my plan. I mean, I'll give these soccer moms something serious to complain about. If they're that outraged by Joshie's violent lyrics, who knows how they'll react to discovering his past. I think I now know why Rowley was so mad at me when I showed him my plan. His mom must have tried to get all of his Joshie stuff, and he's been hiding all of it from her. So I guess he's trying to avoid getting grounded. Tuesday, the Joshie meet and greet was around noon, but Holly told me that we should get there an hour early, and she had a point, because the line to meet him was super long. We waited in line for more than an hour, and I got bored really quickly. I swear that if Holly wasn't there, I don't think I'd survive this. To make matters worse, we spent most of our time waiting outside in the blazing heat, and I instantly regretted not bringing any form of shade. The last part of the line was indoors, but there was no air conditioning in the building, so it was hardly better. Clearly, Joshie has low standards or something. After what felt like a million years, we made it to the front of the line and got to meet Joshie. That was when I showed him the Bloody Rose CD and asked him if he knew anything about it. Joshie tried to deny knowing anything about Bloody Rose, but it was pretty obvious that he was lying. I don't know who these guys are, but the blonde guy looks pretty handsome. I guess Joshie only got away with his crimes for so long by targeting kids since they didn't know about Bloody Rose. When he asked us if we had anything we wanted him to autograph, I showed him the redeemable code. Unsurprisingly, he came up with a backstory for that too. Oh dear! It seems that code was actually a teaser for an upcoming song from, Runny Nose. Wait, what? Runny Nose? I thought we were done there, but just as we were about to leave, Joshie yelled at us. I bet you thought you could fuck up my life and ruin my career, huh? But I've got the last laugh here. Joshie then kicked away his chair, jumped on his desk, and started screaming various profanities at us. I'm not sure if he was trying to intimidate us or something else, but he kept doing that until Mom arrived. If you even lay a finger on my son and his friend, I will make you regret that you were even born. You poor excuse for a children's singer. Mom then proceeded to lecture to Joshie about how you can't solve anything with violence in that. Mom basically ended up giving Joshie the same kind of lecture she used to give me and Roderick back when we were kids. I'm not sure if it had the same effect on a grown man as it would on two kids, but it was enough for Joshie to go sulk in his tour bus. After that, the security kicked us out and Mom offered to drive us home. Though she did have one question for us. What exactly were you doing there anyways? I couldn't think of a lie that Mom would believe, so I ended up telling her the truth. This turns out to be enough for her to call the cops on Joshie once we got home. I guess it's a victory for the soccer moms then. Wednesday, Joshie made it to the front page of the newspaper today, bringing an end to his decade-long escape. The Daily Herald. Joshie revealed as former Bloody Rose singer Joop Vanderkoop arrested following sexual accusations. The show's finally over for Joshie, as the 35-year-old singer recently revealed himself as Joop Vanderkoop, the former lead singer of the Dutch heavy metal band Bloody Rose. During a confrontation with his fans, Vanderkoop was long believed to have died in a car crash after being accused of sexual misconduct. Finally, this violent man who tries to portray himself as a children's singer is where he belongs, states Soccer Moms of America Association member Susan Heffley. Mrs. Heffley's son was actually involved in the incident where Joshie revealed his true identity. The incident itself reportedly involved Joshie swearing at the boy and his girlfriend before leaping on a desk in an attempt to intimidate him. After Mrs. Heffley threatened Joshie, he hid in his tour bus until she called the police on him. Joshie is currently being held at the Plainview Municipal Prison, where he is waiting to be. After the Joshie incident, Mom's been trying to get us to stop listening to singers who don't know how to treat women properly. Apparently, she went through Roderick's CD and got rid of all of the ones by singers who did stuff similar to what Joshie did. Still, I'd say Rowley was the most affected by the Joshie incident. His mom burned all of his Joshie merchandise after she found out who Joshie really was. Rowley's been down in the dumps since that happened, and to be honest, I'm feeling kinda bad for him. So much in fact that I gave him a CD I found in a box of free stuff on the street. STD, the very best. I know this girl's group got a very unfortunate name, but all the other CDs in that box were of rap music, and I don't think Rowley's parents will ever let him listen to that. And anyhow, all the songs on this CD are in Korean, so it's not like Rowley or his parents will know what they're trying to say anyways. Either way, at least I got Rowley some more mature music to listen to. I've heard that people who listen to Korean music tend to be pretty weird, but at least Rowley won't get laughed at for his musical taste in high school. Though I guess that even Joshie was cool before he ruined his career by sleeping with all those women and then hiding his identity by becoming a kid singer. And that was the end of Joshie's true face. What are we thinking? Is that the actual Joshie in the books? Was he secretly a death metal band lead singer that was saying some crazy lyrics, did some crazy horrible stuff too? Could that be the real face of Joshie? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you have any recommendations for stories that you want me to read in the future, put them down in the comments as well, and I will eventually read them soon. But that's going to do it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for notifications so you never miss another upload in the future, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.